leaving next week?
They'll be gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we'll still have class. I think because we don't have school next Friday. Thursday will be our test, which means I'm probably going to try and do Tuesday and Wednesday like study guides. So all they will miss is going over a review and the test. And then for y'all, that way they don't miss learning anything. Because I know that can be stressful, missing 3 classes of this in a row. And y'all will just get like an extra review day out of it, is what y'all will get. But today, I do need to go on without them a little bit. They'll be fine. They can watch the videos. We're going to learn, y'all, if you have a graphing calculator, please bring it tomorrow. We were going to do it today, but I know we let them borrow all of them. But tomorrow, we're going to graph using our calculators. If you don't have one, maybe you can borrow one. All right, but we'll practice that for a little while. Makes things so much easier. But today, what we're going to start with, well, do we need to go back and look at what we learned on Thursday, maybe for a second? Probably. If I have y equal, can y'all see that? Yeah. Let's do y equals 2x squared. Now remember, when you see the square, it's something called a quadratic. It's not a straight line anymore. It's either going to look like a smiley face or a frowny face. Okay, that's called a parabola. That's what they learned on Thursday. These are quadratic functions, and their shape is a parabola. Okay, just a hint, which you can type this in your calculator tomorrow. It'll give us all the answers. But if it's a positive number, it's smiling. It's going up. It's positive. Okay? If I had a negative 2 out front, guess what it would do? It would flip, and it would be upside down. All right? Now, the old way of doing this is to pick some numbers for x. So, like, I know that this was a basic one that we learned on Thursday, so I need to pick a negative and a positive number. So on Thursday, we just picked -1, 0, and 1. You have to have at least 3 points, okay? 2 points make a line, so you need 3 points so that you can see how it's rounded. Now, if I plugged this in my calculator, I know y'all don't have them, but that would be 2 times -1 squared. Well, that's going to be 2, okay? If you had your calculator and type that in, it would give you 2. Then if I plug in 0, well, anything times 0 is what? 0. And then let's plug in the last one. And you'll notice you get 2 again. And that should happen. We should see it repeat itself, okay, because it's symmetrical. So I would make a little graph, and I would go over -1 and up 2. Stay here at 0, 0. Over 1 and up 2. And here's my parabola. Do y'all remember that? Yeah? Okay. So then today, we did a bunch of those. We're going to compare the widths of parabolas, which if we had our calculator, that would be great, but I'll show you a little trick to it, and you don't even have to graph it. Okay? They give us 3, sorry. -4x squared, 1/4 x squared, and x squared. And they want to know which one is the widest to the narrowest. Okay, the easiest way to do this, which I'll show you tomorrow, is to type it in your calculator and watch it graph them. Something that's wide would look like a parabola that's like this. A narrow parabola is going to look like that, like a skinny one, okay? So, first of all, what happens with the negative? What do we know that one does? Well, it should flip it upside down. So I would know, okay, that one's going to be upside down. But I'll tell you, if this number is between 0 and 1, it's going to be wider, okay? If the number is bigger than 1, like the number 4, ignore that negative, that's going to be a steeper slope or steeper, okay? And this is just our basic parent function. So this is the number 1 in front of x squared. I'm going to put 1. So based on what I told you, which one's the widest? Without graphing them. I'll graph them in a second, or I'll show you their pictures. But which one would be the widest? Which one has a number between 0 and 1? 1/4. So this one is the widest. I'll write it right here. Y equals 1/4 x squared. Okay, then which one do you think would come next? The 1x squared? And then which one? Negative 4x squared. Okay, that would be our widest to the narrowest. Let's see what this says. I'll show you the graphs. Real quick, I'm going to come right back to that. Look at the graphs really quick. Ignore all the words underneath. Just look at the picture. So which one of those looks like it's the widest? The one in the middle, this one, and that's the 1/4. Okay? If that number's between 0 and 1, it's going to be wider. Okay? Which one looks the steepest? Doesn't matter if it's upside down or not. This one. That's because that number was, the 4 was the biggest number. Okay, so it had the steepest slope. Does that kind of make sense? Let me give y'all 3 more to look at. So that was the widest going this way. All right, let me give y'all, what if I have y equals negative x squared, y equals 3x squared, and y equals negative 1/3 x squared. Remember, the negative and positives don't matter. Negative just flips it upside down. It doesn't affect how wide it is. So which one of those would be the widest? Which one has a number between 0 and 1? The 1/3. Okay, so that one's the widest. If it has a fraction, that's going to be the widest. So I'm going to put y equals negative 1/3 x squared. That's the widest. Okay, let me cross that one off. Now, these aren't fractions, so you have the number 1 and the number 3. So which one would you put first? The 1. And remember, as the bigger the number gets, the steeper it gets. So you're going to go with negative x squared and then 3x squared. So there's no graphing needed. It just said which is the widest to the narrowest. And do I have one more? I'm trying to think. Yeah. Are we good with those? Maybe, yeah, kind of. Okay. The next thing, so we have just a couple of problems. The next one, they give us 2 graphs. I'm going to write down, this is our basic graph. We have 2x squared. Okay, we've got our parabola. But then something happens to this one. Any guesses on what happens? What's changed? Just look at the numbers. What changed? From here to here. We've added 3. Okay? Anytime there's a number outside of here, that's where it moves it up or down. So since that's a positive 3, where has that moved? Up 3. If I had a calculator, we'll look at that tomorrow, but say that this is your 2x squared, the other one is going to be up above it, 3 spaces. Okay, that's all it does. What if it had been minus 2? Where would it have moved? Down 2. Okay, so if the number is out here, that's key right now, it's either moved up or down. So they say, this is what I'll show you their picture. I'll move it in just a second. Right, but this is what the picture looks like. And it says, so is it A, B, C, or D? It shifted 3 units up, 3 units down, 3 to the right, or 3 to the left. Well, we said it's moved 3 units up. Tomorrow when you graph it, you could see. It would graph the red one, and then it would graph the blue one. And where did the blue one move? Up 3. Okay? So that's what I would say. Up 3. Let me see if they have it any different. No. Okay. let me do another one. What if I have y equals x squared? That's our basic graph. Where has this one moved? Down 3. That's where that one has moved. Down 3. So when the number's out here, this is not in your lesson, but just like a heads up, something y'all will learn. That's not the same thing. This has actually moved to the right one. Okay? See how this is outside, way out here? That's what moves it up or down. When it's inside with the X, it moves it left or right. But y'all aren't learning that yet, but that would be really good ACT type questions. Like you would look at it and you're like, I have no idea what that says. But if you're in Algebra 2, it would take you like 1 second to know what it is. But this one has actually moved to the right one, backwards from what you think. That is not needed today. Let's see. The last thing, I will show y'all that I think tomorrow because we'll have calculators tomorrow. Let's see. Yep, let me get y'all's paper out. That's pretty much it. There's going to be a question or two at the end that we'll finish up tomorrow. That way I can kind of catch them up on some of this. Okay, I know it was a really short lesson, but